Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Let's take a look here at our first research essay, which is going to be a poetry analysis. And we can see here with the directions, you can select any poem that you'd like to work with, and we want to have a 5-paragraph analysis using one literary device that aids in developing the poem's theme. That might sound really familiar because we just got finished working on that same writing prompt, but without research. Now, with that said, if you want to work with that poem that you've just been working with, you are certainly welcome to. You just have to plug in research. Or from the first poetry essay, if you would like to work with that one and then expand it, because remember that was a brief paper, expand it and then plug in research, you are certainly welcome to do that. Or if you'd like to work with a different poem altogether, whatever you would like to do. Please note that the poems that we've been working with in the example essays, that we've been looking at in our course, are off limits, which include Love Is Not All, Dover Beach, and the paper we're about to take a look at is on Somewhere I Have Never Traveled, Gladly Beyond. Please remember, we want to practice information literacy. You're limited to using articles from the databases, right? We looked at the library's webpage as well as books. Target number of resources is 3 to 5. Please remember, we want to use MLA documentation inside the paper. We'll take a look at those examples very soon, as well as the works cited page. Even though this is a research essay, it's formatted the same. No cover sheet. We just want to use the same heading as we've been working with. And you see the word length there. Please note that the works cited page does not count towards length. Some of the different tips and suggestions begin today. A lot of folks, when they start to do research on a poem and a certain literary device, they see that the first choice doesn't work out and they have to fall back to a plan B or even a plan C. So you want to go ahead and do that. Come up with plan A, plan B, plan C. You want to be sure to select a poem that you understand. So if we think about the writing process, and all these others are in play, be sure to, define the term and the introduction with your thesis, those 3 body paragraphs proving your thesis. When you use paraphrases and quotes from your research in each body paragraph, brief direct quotes from the poem and support. The conclusion summarizes the essay, restates, avoids new ideas. Always remember to proofread. So the first thing to decide is what poem you would like to work with. And again, have a plan A, B, and C. Then the second thing is you want to find your device. Find your literary device, whether it's symbolism or imagery or irony. Okay. Then go into the poem and then highlight examples of that device being used in the poem. Now, once you've done this, then you can move to the next step, which is research. If you start off here without doing this, it's not going to work. And then what you want to do inside of your research, is you want to find discussion of this literary device as well as that it's going to link in to those examples. And please be aware, everything that is driving the bus with this paper, and this is something we've been working with, is theme. Theme, right? So if that poem, you can't figure out the theme, don't do it. If that literary device that you're working with, you can't figure out how it fits the theme, don't do it, right? Just move to plan B or plan C. Now, what I'd like to show everyone is, this is the example paper that I have done. I have gone in and color coded it with different highlighters to be aware of what we want to accomplish. The yellow highlighter, these are quotes from the poem. That's one thing we have to have. Orange, research, paraphrases, and direct quotes. Have to have that. And then those signal words, have to have that. So I've gone in and I've color-coded things just to make sure, or way to double check that I'm getting everything done that I need to do. So you can do this on your paper, just to go in and make sure you're getting everything done. So here I have my introduction. I've gone in here and I've named the poet that I'm working with. I've included some brief background information on the poet or the poet's work, right? Then I move down and I have my literary device. What is this? This is something we have to be sure that we're doing. Naming the theme. You'll notice here what I do after my literary device, what we just looked at there, right? Define the term. Okay. Now, here is the title of my poem. Well, not my poem, but the poem I'm working with, sorry. And then I end with my thesis. So my thesis and my introduction. And what do we see sprinkled throughout the introduction? Signal words, right? Imagery, image. If you're doing symbolism, right? What would be some signal words? Symbolic, symbol, represent, symbolism, right? Because those would be the ones that would naturally associated with the use of that literary device. So whatever literary device you're using, we want to be sure to see it, not just once. We want to see it multiple times. Now I have my main idea, my thesis. Now what I need to do is I need to prove it. And we can see moving into the first body paragraph, what we see in the first body paragraph. My device, beginning, middle, end. Right? What do we see here? Here I have a quote from the poem, another quote from the poem. Please notice that those are brief. You don't want to have a really long one that's going to take over a whole paragraph. If anytime you see a quote doing this, and all that you contribute is just the topic and the concluding sentence, that's, you have something really going wrong. Now, it's time for me to look at research, right? That's the orange. That's the orange. Now, here's a good thing to do, and we have to do this when we're using direct quotes. So here I have a direct quote. And what do? I create a signal phrase. Remember, when we have a direct quote, that's when we copy word for word from the resource into our paper. When we do that, we have to create a signal phrase. Why is there no page number here, right? There's no page number here. Why? What is this? This is an electronic source. So if you have an article from a database and there's no page numbers, right? It's not as a PDF. You print it out and there's no page numbers. Remember, we cannot use the pagination that the printer automatically puts on there. We can't do it. So there's no page number to put because there's no page numbers in cyberspace. So you notice everything in here, I'm dealing with this image, right? This quote from the poem supports there. My research supports. So here again, here I have another direct quote. We can see that. And what do we see here? Here I have the page number because that was an actual print book. Lucky me. And what do we see here? Right, the author's not listed in here. The author's listed in the signal phrase. So remember, if the author isn't listed in the signal phrase, then it would be included in the parenthetical citation. And here's I'm not done. I still continue to go in and develop this paragraph using signal word, quote from the poem, more research. What does we see with this citation? Well, if we take a look, I have my signal phrase, right? But the author's not named in my signal phrase, so what do I have to do? I have to name the author in the parenthetical citation. And then that poem is, that paragraph is drawn to a close. So that was my first body paragraph done, and we'll continue to take a look at this example paper and breaking it down in the next lecture.